There it is. What's going on, Scott?
Nothing much. What's going with you?
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. This is Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am half of your host. I am Scott Steen. I am the lead handicapper at winnersandwiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Rochelle, senior handicapper over at winnersandwiners.com.
And together, we make up Heading Back to the Window. Why Heading Back to the Window? Because that's what you want to be doing as a sports bettor. First, you want to make those plays, and then you want to cash those tickets and head back to the window. So happy Thursday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. I would love to see the commenters here. As always, Michelle Wares is here. Brandon Zerfus in the house. Michael B. What's going on, Michael? Michelle says she loves the animations. That's a hat tip to our pal Jim Williams over there. He's kind of putting everything together, taking us to the next level. So, yeah, that's very cool. I'm a big fan. You a fan, Scott?
Yeah, I like the intro. I like the overall presentation. You're definitely evolving.
The music is growing on me. I thought it was a little low key to start with, but now it's kind of like builds it up, and then it hits that ding at the end. It's just like here they are. So, hey, how'd your Wednesday go? How'd your hump day go?
Went well. I hit pretty much everything in sight. Going through the play the day that I had a player prop at plus money in OG Anunoby that ended up winning. So that was plus 105. I know we gave out a couple of leans in both hockey and the NBA. I think we won practically all of those.
Yep.
It felt that way. College football went pretty well as well. Yeah, it was just one of those days.
Just one of those days.
Yeah.
Hey, our Rivera 911 is in the house, and he's the dude that had the hockey bets last night, Scott, that I shared with you and couldn't figure out. So, dude, if you want to drop in the comment what those were, we'd love to hear them. So yeah, let's see. Zach Vaughn's is Reichel with the backup prop bet. Still hit. Love it. There you go.
I had the first one, and the guy got COVID an hour and a half later, so I wasn't going to waste everybody's time. I made another one, and that ended up winning.
And I'm sure that one would have hit too, right, buddy?
I believe so.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get it rolling, man. Let's find out. Oh, by the way, I went like 2-2 yesterday. We had Northern Illinois. That one hurt because they just couldn't get a stop. There was two critical at the end of both halves. Basically, they couldn't get a stop to end the first half. They let them have that touchdown, and then they couldn't get a stop to get the ball back 5 down at the end of the game. Just absolutely ridiculous.
That was one of the only things I lost. I live bet the Northern Illinois money line at plus 390 about halfway through the fourth quarter. I wasn't exactly shocked they couldn't get a stop, but I knew anytime they had the ball, they were going to score.
Right.
So all I needed was one stop, and I'm sitting there with plus 390, but it didn't work out.
A bad snap, put the ball on the ground, lose 8 yards, whatever. You don't even have to turn it over. Just
give me a holding penalty or something.
Right. Just put them behind the chains. My God, they were just ahead of the chains all night long.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. All right. So you know what? Let's find out, Scott. Maybe it didn't go so well for some other people. You know who I'm talking about? You know who you are. You're out there. You thought you had that winner. You thought you had that money spent, and then all of a sudden things went south. It is time to discover who needs to call the cops, everybody. All right. Well, the first one is going to be the Central Michigan game. And if you had, if you had Central Michigan, Western Michigan first half, you had the under 33.5, you were golden, everybody, because they had 28 points, 15 seconds left in the second quarter. Western Michigan had 4th and 23 with 15 seconds left. Well, you got a punt there, right, Scott? Punt them in their own end zone. Punt them deep in their own zone, in their own part of their field. They just take a knee, go to halftime. You're all good. That's a winner. Just write it down. Wait a minute, Scott. He's catching the ball at the 3-yard. Oh shit! Are you kidding? Somebody catch him! No, Scott. 97 yards. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you. It was good for me because I had the Chippewas. But if you had the under 33.5, you just watch that go up in smoke as the half ended 21-14.
It was also the second punt return touchdown of the half by the same guy. So you had a lot of, let's just say, funny business going on in order to get that over. But if you had the under, take the week off. That's a rough one. But looking at another bad beat in basketball, if you had the Spurs and Mavericks over 217.5 or the Mavericks -2, I think the total was worse, though. You had 217 points with 3 seconds left. Close game, though. Jalen Brunson couldn't miss for the entire second half. Got fouled. Career 77% free throw shooter. He missed the first one, and he intentionally missed the second one while winning. And the game landed 217. That's rough.
Oh, God. All right. And the last one is going to be if you had the Pelicans Kings over 219. All you needed was 41 points in the fourth quarter. 40 would get you the push. You got neither one of those as they scored a 32-point fourth quarter, including, I'm sorry, does this say 12 points?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Outstanding. That game landed 211. You might not have even seen the end of it because you were probably already out spending your money. Sorry, guys. You got to call those cops.
There was somebody on Caesars, their book, who I believe had $332,000 on the over in that game. Saw a tweet about it. That's a lot of money gone.
That is a lot of money gone.
That hurts.
Yikes. All right. Well, there's the opposite side of that. There is the good news out there today, Scott. Maybe this was one of your bets. If you had, we'll just get to it. Let's find out who was sitting in that rocking chair.
So the first one was in the MAC. If you had Northern Illinois and Kent State over 71, you only had 7 points in the first quarter, so you're a little bit worried. Can I interest you in 52 points in the second quarter alone?
I don't know what happened. I had Northern Illinois in that game. Like I said, everything was going great. They're up 7-0 after the first quarter, playing a little defense, and then they I don't know, out of body experience, body snatchers. I don't know what happened to the defense.
So you ended up with 59 at the half, and the game landed 99. So the game flew over, wasn't close. 52 points in a quarter? That's just bizarre.
Yeah, the 31 points. And usually if you see somebody score, like you'll see 31, 35 in a quarter every once in a while, but usually the other team isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
It's rare you would see 50 points, obviously, in a quarter. All right. So we're going to take a look at the Bulls 76ers under. And if you had that under 215.5, no worries at all. 102 at halftime. You figure you're good. You're not great, but you just don't need things not to go crazy. And they didn't. They had an even drier second half as that game landed 201. Bulls 76ers under 215. You were sitting in the rocking chair.
And looking at the last one, if you had the Celtics and Magic under 212, probably the easiest winner of the night. 3 separate quarters had less than 42 points in the year 2021 in basketball. Really? Game landed at 171.
Gonzaga,
not even close.
Gonzaga picking up a nice win there, Scott. 92-79.
Yeah. I don't know how you have that few points in 3 separate quarters. My God.
You're terrible. You're terrible at basketball.
We're going to talk about them in a second, in a separate segment, but damn, that was a terrible basketball game.
Did you watch it?
No, but thank God I didn't watch it. I actually had a prop in a podcast that I ended up giving out. I had Jaylen Brown over in assists at plus money. It was 2.5. He had 3 in I think the third quarter. So luckily, even with that side action, I didn't have to watch the last 18 minutes of that game.
Oh, very good. All right. And a couple other guys in the house. The T train has pulled into the station. Browns backer is here. Nathan Cerna. Some of our regulars. Okay, so here it is on the hockey bet. Sorry, I have a local book that allows to adjust the lines on totals. It's a hockey, Scott, on totals and size. So he does a correlated parlay. Put odds on each. Went 3 and 2 yesterday. Okay, cool. So he does have a guy that allows teasers on hockey games.
That's the only one I've ever heard of.
That's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it's teaser. I think he's saying that he can take alternative lines and create his own teaser. That's what he's trying to say.
Okay, but it's at the end of the day, you're creating your own teaser lines.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, fair enough. All right, there you go. That's cool, though. Fantastic. All right, so, oh Oh, I hate these. Okay, so this is a well-earned one, Scott. You found it. We're doing it. Let's find out who is wearing the title of you know who you are. It's the donkey of the day. All right. Go ahead, sir.
So, for this one, we're going back to the realm of crazy fans, and we're going international for this one, so bring your passport. We're looking at Jonathan Best, who is a forklift driver in the UK. He was sentenced to 10 weeks in jail yesterday for racially abusing 3 English soccer players on Facebook Live following the Euro 2020 final. Now, a reminder, even though it was Euro 2020, it took place this past summer. It was the match that England lost to Italy and penalty kicks, and it just so happened that the 3 guys who missed the penalty kicks for England were African American or black or whatever term you want to use, because African American, it's in England, but still. Point is that
they wouldn't be African American.
Wouldn't be African American, but the point is they were black, and he decided not only to keep his opinions, let's just say, very, very distasteful, he decided to broadcast them to the masses and refuse to take it down when the police asked him to. And he ended up getting arrested, and he's going to jail for 10 weeks. What an idiot. I don't know how much else needs to be said. The guy's a moron.
No. It's, sometimes we have like controversial things. I'll take one side, you'll take the other. I'm gonna go ahead and go against the the racist Facebook Live rant. I'm gonna be against it, Scott. I'm not gonna be for it.
I also threw in a forklift driver just because it's good to know that you don't need much of an education to be a forklift driver, because the guy's clearly a moron.
Wow, you just couldn't let that go, huh? You just had to find some way to make it controversial and piss people off.
Forklift drivers?
Yes. So apologies to everybody that drives a forklift.
I said you don't have to be
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever driven a forklift in your life?
No.
No.
I've done the crane game though at local carnivals.
You have no idea because it steers with the rear wheels. It is not an easy thing to do, to drive a forklift.
I didn't say it was easy. I'm just saying the guy's an idiot.
Okay. All right. So again, apologies to any forklift drivers out there.
And according to Nathan, it would be African European. Thank you for that. Correct.
Afro Euro.
Afro Euro. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. All right, Scott. Well, as we've certainly gone gracefully out of that segment, let's find out who disappointed us, Scott. They didn't make us mad. We're not mad, Scott. We're just disappointed. So you mentioned this game earlier. We brought it up. It's the Orlando Magic. And how awful are they right now? Because they put up 33 points in the second half. If you're wondering how that game ended like it did, that's how it ended like it did. 33 points in the entire second half, Scott. That's brutal.
And Boston's not a great defensive team.
No, they're no. I don't. What seems to be their problem, right? I mean, obviously they're not shooting well, but I mean, is there something that can be done? And I have a follow. And Mr. Reich, I have a follow-up question to that. No, you have to answer the first part first.
Oh, sorry. Okay, my bad. I thought you were going to ask both of them now. But anyway, going through the actual game itself, Orlando has a lot of young talent or young players. I'm not sure how many of them are talented, but the point is they have a lot of growing pains to go through. You're looking at Cole Anthony, who has looked pretty good, but he shot 2 for 11 from 3 yesterday, so he kept chucking up shots he wasn't making. You have a couple rookies, Suggs, who's been hit or miss so far. Wagner's been good for the most part, was not good yesterday.
Right.
Bamba and Carter playing the power forward and center. That's kind of the weird spot for me. It's 2021. They're still playing with 2 centers. So I am curious how the spacing works for that team.
Not well.
But Damn, they can't shoot.
So here's my follow-up question. Are you buying the theory that it's the new basketball?
No.
Because a lot of the players have come out and said the reason the scoring is off is because of the new basketball.
I think everything's a case study because you have some games like the Nets game where it flies over the total, and you just go, well, what happened there? Are they used to the basketball now? No, I think that they just came in, had a really bad second half because the first half, they weren't awful. They weren't good, but I don't think they suddenly forgot how to shoot with the basketball and they already played a half with it. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. I'm just throwing it out there. Guys talking about the game tonight. T-Train's on the first half with the Colts. Don't hate that play. He's fading me on the under. I've got the over in that game, but we were talking about that before the show, and that's the under certainly in play because you could have a situation where the Colts just sit on the ball and just take the air out of the ball, running Thomas or running Taylor. But for me, I think the Jets are going to be forced to play catch up. So
I feel the same way. The thing is, if the Jets win this game, that would be 2 in a row. That hasn't happened for a long time.
Right.
The world might freeze over if the Jets win tonight. That's what I'm trying to say. So I do think the spread does seem a bit high. I don't exactly want to lay double digits with the Colts. I know this team's been playing better lately. Carson Wentz is guaranteed to make 1 to 2 stupid decisions every single game. His interception over a half is plus 130 or so. I don't hate that. I think that if you expect Wentz to do one thing that's stupid in this game, I think there's some value on plus money. I don't think the Jets are a good team. I do think that they had a pretty impressive, maybe a one-hit wonder performance by their quarterback, but the number seems a bit high. I would lean to the Jets just because I have a hard time envisioning the Colts winning by margin. I'm not touching the side. For the total, I agree with you. The Jets defense played decently last week, still gave up 31. The Colts defense, I think we would agree, is not exactly that great. And the weather's not a factor because they're in a dome. Right. So I do think that the over is how I'd lean for that game. But if you're looking at props, I don't mind Wentz to throw an interception. I don't mind a Jamison Crowder over in receptions if you think that he's going to be a guy who catches a bunch of dump-off passes here. But
I believe that was the first interception for the Jets last season. I'm sorry,
last week, but it could be.
I don't mean to
either way. The Colts are a team that I think are good. I don't trust them to win by margin, especially with Reich's goal line play calling. It's really outstanding how his play calling inside of the 10-yard line is just so abysmal. Really, it's just crazy to me. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, I'm with you. He's a genius for the first 80 yards.
Yeah, the red zone play calling, they fall apart.
He's a red zone moron. So
yeah,
I don't know. All right, so let's take a look. See what we got cooked up for tonight. We've got a couple of football games. Obviously, the NFL game. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but we're going to start with a fairly intriguing college football game. Scott, as the Louisiana Lafayette Rajon Cajuns get together there. Who you looking at in that game?
Well, I have a hard time fully knowing what to expect from Louisiana because it seems like whenever we like them, they underperform. And whenever we don't talk about them, they end up beating Texas State by 45. So I'm kind of figuring out what to expect from this team. Georgia State's been underperforming all year long, but they are off the bye. So they do have an extra week of prep for this matchup. I'll let you go first. What do you think?
Well, I'm looking at the change, and I know this is something that's going to thrill you. That Georgia State finally, Scott, they got rid of the quad. There is Quad Brown, Cornelius Brown the fourth, aka Quad Brown.
Granger Danger.
He gone.
Granger Danger though, pretty good.
Granger Danger is in, and he hasn't been exemplary. He's not. He's no Mike White, okay, but he has been competent, Scott, and that's a huge step in the right direction for this team.
They've won 3 in a row. That's all you need to say.
It is, and his stats have been good. Here's what I was surprised about Quad Brown when I was looking at this game. He didn't run for much. you think of him as like a real dual threat, and you go, well, he can't throw very well, but at least he can run. He's averaging like 1.6 yards a carry. It was awful.
By the
So
way, I misspoke. I thought Georgia State was off the bye. They are not off the bye. My bad.
okay, all right, sorry. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
my
already
bad.
they had the bye. So
I was flipping weeks. I knew they had a bye at some point already. I thought it was last week, but it was not. So my bad.
yeah,
Um,
quad was 52% completion, no touchdown passes, 4 interceptions.
he's not any
Already
good. He just has a great nickname.
in 3+ games, Granger's gone 60% completion, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So this is kind of a different game. So you have to take the early stats with a grain of salt. And then, of course, you've got Granger for the last 3 games, and who do they play? Absolutely nobody.
Yep.
So you don't really know. There's a lot of question marks with this game because they were able to get past Monroe, Texas State, and Georgia Southern's a legitimate team, but they're kind of a one-trick pony. If you can stop their rushing game, you can beat them.
Even with a legitimate Georgia Southern team by name, they're still 2-6, so they're having a down year.
And this is a Louisiana team that kind of plays down to the level of competition. They've been a double-digit favorite 6 times this year. They've covered twice, and they're not a cover machine at home. They took care of business against Texas State, but they played with their food against Arkansas State earlier after that big win over App State. So,
well, that was a road game, which is why I'm kind of leading.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But yeah, I did conflate those things together. They don't do well at home, but they did have the Arkansas State game. That was on the road that they did poorly. So
I'm looking at Louisiana. I'm really torn on this one because, as I said before, I've had a hard gauge on Louisiana. At home, they've played 3 home games. They beat Ohio. They played 4 home games. Nicholls State they didn't cover. Then in conference play, they beat Ohio 49-14. Played Appalachian.
Wait. They're not in the same conference as Ohio.
Oh, sorry, my bad. That's
you're used to Maction, brother.
My bad. I'm used to Maction. But the point is, they beat Ohio 49-14. Then they got into conference play. They beat Appalachian 41-13, which might be the most impressive win in the conference all year long. And then they ended up beating Texas State 45-0. So the last 3 home games, last 2 in conference, they've scored at least 41 points in each game, and they've dominated. Georgia State, I respect the move at quarterback because they needed to. But when you're beating UL Monroe, Texas State, and Georgia Southern, I needed to see a little bit more. I'll go with Louisiana. If it was 14.5, I'd probably take the points. But 13.5 does feel like the bare minimum or the maximum, so to speak, on what I would lay with Louisiana.
Okay.
You?
All right. Yeah. Nathan Cerner brings up a good point that said after that abysmal performance against Arkansas State, you can't trust the Cajuns.
That's how I feel, but that was a road game. They've been a lot better at home.
Yeah.
I do like the over in the game, though. Both teams with quarterbacks that I actually like, I do think they'll move the ball.
So you're not bothered by the fact that they've played 7 of 8 games have gone under. All but one of their games at home have gone under, and 5 straight have gone under.
Not really, because Louisiana's played their last 3 home games. They've scored at least 41 points. This team can score, and Georgia State's defense has played better. They haven't played anybody. So when you give up 45 to Appalachian and you're going down the line and against good opposition, the defense has not looked great. I do think that Louisiana could score 40 in this game. So I'm looking at the over.
Okay. All right. Good enough. That's you like Zach Vaughn likes team total over 30, or wants to know if you like team total over 33. I'm guessing based on what you just said that you do very much.
If I think the game's going over, I like the team total over for Louisiana a lot more, but I do think they're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Okay. I think I'm just gonna I give this Georgia State a little more credit than you do because Louisiana plays well against the run, but I think Georgia State can throw the ball, and I think there's a little bit of value on them right here. I think they're still being evaluated as if Quad Brown is at the helm, and he's not.
That's fair. I mentioned the spread and how little confident I was in it, but just which side I prefer.
Right.
I do like the Louisiana team total over, though.
Yeah.
Because Georgia State's defense has definitely shown signs of below average showings on the road.
Yeah, and if it starts rolling downhill, you can always get in trouble against good teams. because you have that confidence. If you start out well, you let teams hang around, but all of a sudden
Mm.
you get them down a couple touchdowns, and they get that, oh, we suck, and that mentality creeps in, and
Plus,
things.
Georgia State not exactly careful with the football. You might see a couple of short fields.
Yeah, certainly possible. All right, and that's really the only. We've got the other college game there. Are you excited about that one? Morgan State.
No chance in hell I'm backing Morgan State. At first glance, this line makes no sense. Morgan State is over. They're a terrible football team. Is Delaware State good? No. Are they bad? No. I think they're mediocre. So I do think that you're getting a mediocre team against a complete bottom feeder, -2.5. Total's around 38. So try to find something else to watch. Maybe some paint to dry, something like that. But I'll lay the points with the road team here.
Okay. All right. I only say it because I imagine it's on ESPN3. I imagine you can get it if you got ESPN Plus or whatever there. So
see, for Rivera, I wish Presbyterian played multiple times per week. On the bright side, about a week from now, you will see Mississippi Valley State and Chicago State and some of these other teams probably playing 2 to 3 times a week. Pine Bluff playing 2-3 times a week. So you pick your spots, you'll find a lot of fading chances multiple times per week on the hardwood in the next couple of weeks.
I got to look at Pine Bluff's schedule. I got to see if they're close to me. I would be willing to drive 5 hours to go see Pine Bluff.
I want to see Mississippi Valley.
I
want to see them play.
If they play, I got to see where I guess in Pine Bluff's about 7 hours from my house.
They're playing Utah. They're playing Arkansas. They're giving up 160 points. It's really just, I got to assume it's like watching the Globetrotters.
So keep an eye on this. In all seriousness, our Rivera, keep an eye on this Morgan State team because we could have a Presbyterian ×2 because
it's a little late though. They have played more than half their schedule.
Correct. But they haven't been closer than 11 points in any of their games that count. They were losing by an average of 18 points per game. It's a bad team.
They're very bad.
It's a bad team. So keep an eye on that Morgan State. Put a little sprinkle on that. That's all I'm saying.
I'll fade Delaware State in basketball, but in football in the spot, I actually like them.
Yes, absolutely. So that leaves us with a little NBA before we talk NFL, Scott. It's not a very deep card tonight. We've got just 5 games on the schedule. We've got the LeBron-less Lakers squaring off against OKC.
It's not just the LeBron-less Lakers. It's the LeBron-less Lakers laying double digits.
Yep.
No way in hell I'm laying that with the Lakers.
I have a couple questions. Well, Dort is questionable, so that's really Davis is probable, so he's going to go.
So there's no Dortcher chamber tonight?
Questionable. Okay. Dwight Howard's going. You excited about that?
Huge. Oh God.
So you're telling me? So this line's gone from it dropped from what, like 14 down to 11 or so with the LeBron news.
Didn't they lose outright without LeBron the last time they played against this team?
Yeah, you're gonna take OKC.
Now in that game, the Lakers were up about 27. They blew it. I gotta take OKC. I can't lay these points with the Lakers. Even with LeBron, they barely beat the Rockets last game. They're not built to cover huge numbers.
Yeah, you're right. The Delta Devils, the armpit of college basketball.
I will always love that team.
I don't know where are they? Do you know? You know where it is?
I'm assuming Mississippi.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
What else grabs your attention? Utah, Atlanta, the NBA Finals we didn't see last year.
Well, that game's a little bit tricky because Gobert's not going to play. Now they have Whiteside, who's still a good rim protector, but of course he's not nearly as good defensively as Gobert. Mitchell's questionable, so that's a little bit that remains to be seen. Young's going to play. It seems like Collins is going to play, so Atlanta should be at full strength. I really want to wait and see if Mitchell's going to play or not, but without Gobert in the lineup, I'm going to take Atlanta.
Where do you see? Have you got that confirmed? Because I'm looking at the injury list. I don't have Gobert on it at all.
I see Gobert is listed as. Oh, never mind. I guess he is playing. Sorry. I checked this morning, and the source I was using was saying that Gobert was out. So never mind. Gobert's actually playing in this one. Everything I just said, throw it out. I'll take.
And Mitchell's probable.
Okay. This morning I saw Gobert was out, and I didn't know why, but I just assumed they were giving him an off day.
Okay, very good.
That's kind of weird. Okay, never mind. Good catch.
No, I do what I can, buddy.
Yeah.
Thunderbirds plus 16. Like that. Great call on the Hurricanes Blackhawks last night. I know that was you. You were on that.
That Blackhawks team can't stop anybody, and offensively, with Patrick Kane back, they're a decent offensive team.
Yep, absolutely correct. Anything else? I know you're on this. I know you've been on this Miami team. They're a big time favorite over the Boston Celtics.
I can't take Boston on a back-to-back against
Boston
Miami.
On a back-to-back, right?
With travel? Well, the travel's sketchy because they played against Orlando. But
I looked that up on because I wanted to see how long of a flight that was, and I don't know. You think they take a flight? It's like a 3.5 hour drive.
They might. I don't know.
You think they fly or take a bus?
I think they'll fly.
Okay.
Assuming that Marcus Smart can make the flight.
It's probably in your contract. It's probably in the collective bargaining that they have to fly everywhere. They can't.
Probably, but I'm looking at Miami. This Boston team, congratulations. You beat Orlando. I'm really proud of you. You're not a good basketball team.
I don't know if I can lay 7.
Miami is so damn good.
I know they're like first in offensive efficiency and second in defensive efficiency or something.
And you know that I was on them from the get-go. I love the offseason moves they made.
You've been on them since last year, buddy.
No, 2 years ago in the bubble. I picked them to win the Eastern Conference in the bubble.
The bubble the bubble was last year.
No, it wasn't.
What?
It was 2 seasons ago.
Oh my God.
Well, they kind of merged the 2 seasons without the offseason, but
yeah, that's right. They were started at Christmas. Jesus Christ. Well,
I've liked this Heat team for a while, but with the moves they made, I don't trust the Celtics. I don't think they're good. I think at the end of the day, even with the Magic scoring 30 points in the second half, give or take, the Celtics got outscored in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
They are awful down the stretch of games. Give me the team total under.
Yeah.
Give me the Heat. I just think that this team, especially with how they've been playing at home lately, Miami's also shooting the lights out of the ball. So I'll take the Heat.
You're looking at some. You'll take the Heat. You're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 104, give or take, for the team total. Yeah, that's
it's higher actually. Let me see what number I can get here. Let me see what I got.
Well, it's
it's about 104.5. I saw it at 105.5 this morning, so that's why I was hesitating because money has come in on the under. So
that's what I need is another fucking 24-year-old in my life to question me. That's fantastic.
It's fine, you know.
That's what I have kids for.
Well, I did a player prop on this game for play of the day, and at the time this morning it was around 105.5. So there has been money on the under.
You got to stop living in the past, man.
I got to stop living in the past, but I still like the under because this Heat team puts the clamps down.
Yeah, they put the defensive heat on, if you will. Anything else grab you before we move on?
Not really. I don't think it's a great card. I'd lean to Philly. I know they're in a back-to-back, but Detroit's god awful.
Okay.
You're looking at a situation of 4 or 5. Detroit's terrible.
Fair enough. Anything real quick on hockey? I know we've got to move on, but it is a pretty good hockey card. See anything you can't live without there?
Anything I can't live without? I like the Islanders.
I was going to say Islanders minus 130. Montreal is horrible this year.
Montreal's awful. The Islanders haven't played in about 5 days, but Sorokin's been great in net. Offensively, they've actually been surprisingly good after a slow start. Montreal can't put the puck in the net. They also can't really stop the puck from getting put into their net. I do like the spot for the Islanders there at around minus 130, minus 135.
Okay.
I see Vegas at around, what do you have the price on Vegas? Like minus 120?
I've got minus 115 pretty much across the board.
I'll go with Vegas there. I know that they've gotten off to a bit of a slow start. I still like the overall roster. They did pick up Jack Eichel, who's not going to play in this game, but I do like that move as a whole. Ottawa, decent home team. I still think Vegas is the more talented team overall. I'll take the Golden Knights. I think Scott might have lagged out there for a second. Cool, I'm by myself. All right, cool. So looking at everything else. Oh, you're back. Welcome back. Okay, cool.
Nothing to that.
Nothing to that. I was taking over the hosting duties for about 5 seconds.
All right.
I like the Golden Knights, so I'll go with that.
Okay, cool. All right, very good. Okay, so we got the NFL game tonight, as we alluded to earlier. Indy pretty much a 10-point favorite across the board. 45.5. That number has gone up.
I think
No,
it's too low.
you think that's too low? Yeah.
I think
It's actually
that.
come down. It was 46 yesterday. So it's 45.5. So there is under money coming in.
Well, my question is, how many points do you think the Colts are going to score against this defense? 30 something?
Yeah, I mean, New York has given up, 24 or better in 6 straight. So the defense, for all the improvement in the offense, and it's been marginal, but the defense still is not good. They're a decent run defense, Scott. They certainly were able to shut down Joe Mixon last week. Now, do you think they had that same success against Jonathan Taylor?
I think that they're going to struggle just because of the fact that we could both agree Indianapolis' offensive line is significantly better than Cincinnati's. I mean, that's not even close.
Yes.
So I think Taylor should play well. Pittman, I think, is a matchup problem for this team. I think he'll have a couple of big plays. I think the Colts get to 30-something. And I do think, whether it's garbage time or not, that the Jets should end up getting to around 17. So I'll go with the over.
Okay. Nathan Sterner wants to know if you like the NFL teaser, Colts 5.5 and the over 40. I'm a big fan of that.
I don't mind that. The question is, do you think Mike White can strike twice?
What as far as the 40 goes, or as far as the 5.5?
No, as far as the 5.5, if you think that he can keep the game close.
No.
I don't know.
No. Boy, I'll tell you what, if Mike White has another fantastic game and somehow beats the Colts, Zach Wilson may never take another NFL snap.
NFL snap? That's a bit of a stretch.
You think?
Of course he'll take another snap. What kind of question is that?
Why? What do you do with him?
You could trade him. You can move him anywhere.
To who?
I think nobody's going to take number 2 overall.
He'll never take another rep as a number 1 starter. How about that?
I don't agree with that either.
He could be a clipboard holder that gets called.
It's his second. He hasn't even he's played what, 4 games?
Bold take. It's a bold take.
It's a bold take. It's a bad take, but I respect the guts that you have to share that.
Wally Pipp, baby. That's all I'm saying. It's going to get Wally Pipped.
Did Wally Pipp go to another team after?
No, there was only one team. There's the Yankees. You don't go anywhere else.
Saying, was he in the league for another 5-10 years?
He got traded to the Jaguars and sat on the bench for the rest of his career.
Okay,
fair enough.
I think Wilson will be fine, but I will give Mike White props for putting together one of the most shocking performances in recent memory.
I forgot there's the symbiosis between you and Wilson, because you were like, you had a half chub for Wilson the entire last year when he was.
I still think he's going to be fine.
And then you're a Jets fan, and then he gets Wilson. I mean, yeah, you're like, you can't quit him. It's like Jetback Nation. You can't do that.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think he's having rookie issues like most of the rookie quarterbacks we've seen. Yeah. Shocker, the only guy who's actually looked good as a rookie has Belichick as a coach. What are the odds of that? Isn't that crazy?
The Jets beat the Colts. Hell may freeze over.
That's what I said.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. All right, bud. Well, let's get to it. We've just got one left. We've put our heads together, and we have come up with our very best play. You know what it is. It is time to climb on your John Deere, put on that straw hat, fire that tractor up, baby, because we're going to bet the farm. All right, Scott, we did have a farm play yesterday. How'd that go?
We had Central Michigan team total over 27.5 at even money, and it was never in doubt. They scored 40-plus points.
Yeehaw! All right, there you go. So we're going to try to keep our winning streak going 2 in a row, and we are going to take a play from the NFL contest this evening. Speaking of Mike White, Scott, you have to believe is magic. We're going to look for a little more Mike White magic, and actually it's probably going to be a lot of garbage time, if you be honest. We're going to take him over 253.5 passing yards. Wait a minute, I've even got fancy stuff for this. Look at me. This is for right.
I don't know what's happening right
now. Hang on. There it is. All right. Very good.
Okay, look at you.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So Mike White over 253.5. That is available at -110 on FanDuel. And Mike White, he threw for 405 yards. I don't know if we mentioned that or not. He threw for 405 passing yards last week against Cincinnati. The Jets, they are not a running team, averaging 75.6 rushing yards per game. And if you think that sounds like not very many, you're right, because it's last in the league. The Jets, well, they are a 10-point underdog. And now, as we talked about, 10.5 in some spots. And they are going to be likely playing from behind, throwing a lot of passes, trying to catch up. That should be a good thing for us. And finally, as you talked about earlier, Scott, they are playing in the Dome there in Indianapolis. Weather will not be a factor. So that is going to do it. That is going to be our Bet the Farm play. Once again, Mike White over 253.5 yards passing.
My question for you is, even if it turns into a blowout, do you bring Flacco in, or do you just let Mike White get some reps? Because I think they're going to let White eat this thing no matter what.
Absolutely correct. You're going to let Mike White get some reps. So there you go, guys. That is it for our show, and that is it for Bet the Farm. As always, thanks for being Bronco Devil in the house. What's up? Take Mike White over attempts. I like that play too, brother. Absolutely, absolutely correct. All right, guys, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate each and every one of you. As always, good luck on all your plays. We'll see you tomorrow on Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott.